February, March 2024, the most recent paper that has been conducted by the Cambridge is in front of us. One of our students has solved it, so let's see. Define the term quaternary sector. Businesses providing information services such as computing, web design, ICT, management consultancy, and research and development. Okay. If I would have written this definition, I would have started quaternary sector is the fourth sector of the economy that is knowledge based. Then in the example I would have written in the information services such as computer, web designs, ICT. You will score 1 out of 2 in this, but this definition was difficult, no problem with that. Explain one factor of production of a business activity. Factor of production are the resources needed for the business to produce goods and services that consumers demand. One of the factor of production is enterprise, which is essential for any business activity to take place. Okay. An entrepreneur would usually carry out market research and identify a gap in the market of healthy and tasty soft drinks. Perfect. He would then prepare a business plan and take the risk of investing his capital in the hopes of being able to make profit. Perfect. 3 out of 3. Define the term dismissal. Dismissal is when a person is removed from the job due to incompetence or the breach of the discipline. Good definition. 2 out of 2 marks. Explain one impact on employees who are member of the trade union. Trade union is an organization of working people with the objective of improving the pay and working conditions that members, providing them the support and legal services. Being part of trade union improve the bargaining power of employees. Perfect. For example, if the real wage of employee is in a manufacturing business is decreasing, the employee can collectively choose someone to represent them and support in the person in trying to increase the wages in line with the inflation. Good. Again, 3 out of 3. Define the term trade receivables. It is the value of the payments to be received from the customers to whom the goods have been sold on credit. Perfect. 2 out of 2. Explain why a business may need finance. Finance is usually defined as the money that is needed by the business to manage its operations and pay the debts. One reason that they would need finance is to purchase a new machinery or invest in a factory. A car manufacturer may take out a loan to finance the purchase of new machines that would produce the steering wheels at the low cost and increase contribution per unit. Perfect. 3 out of 3. Analyze one possible impact on the business of operating below maximum capacity. Capacity utilization is proportional to the maximum output capacity currently being achieved. It's calculated using following formula. Current output divided by maximum output times 100. If a restaurant has the capacity utilization of 30%, this shows that there are many empty seats that aren't able to fill. It would be difficult to cover the fixed cost. Good. I was just looking for that. Such as the rent and the salaries of skilled chefs and waiters. This would result in low profit margins and the possibility of making loss. They may need to raise current price levels of all the dishes to cover the cost, but the drive out the existing customers if they deem the price too high. It would be difficult to continue ordering ingredients like flour and spices. This is perfect application. If they have a poor cash flows, which may result in a restaurant being shut down. I'll give you 5 out of 5 in this. This is a very good answer. Analyze 2 barriers for an entrepreneur in a new business. An entrepreneur is an individual. This is an 8 marks question. Entrepreneur is an individual who has the idea of a new business startup and carries most of the risk but benefit from the rewards. It can be difficult to start the business, and one of the most common barriers for the new business is the lack of finance. An entrepreneur may have the idea of starting a clothing business but may find it difficult to find sufficient amount to invest as the startup capital. Banks are also usually reluctant to give loans if he submits a business plan, because they may think that he won't be able to survive in the competitive clothing industry and may fail to pay back the loan with the interest. Even if the startup capital is arranged, the entrepreneurs should have extra finance because the first business objective is to survive, and the little or no profit is made during this time. He should have enough money set aside to continue affording the supplies of yarn and cotton within the paint with the paint that is able to make a profit, something that I cannot, with the point that they're able to make profit on every shirt or trouser sold. Let's see the second thing that the student has written, क्योंकि analyze two barriers है और दूसरा barrier क्या लिखा है. Another barrier is the lack of management skills and the knowledge. Clearly stated, good. An entrepreneur operating as a sole trader would not have any sport in decision making and have no one to share the burden with. He may not have the correct information on how to choose the supplier for raw materials like fabric, net, or cotton. He would also lack the knowledge of how much the supplier uh, charges for these things and would end up overpaying due to the lack of negotiation skill. This is a good application or good development of the analysis. He would not understand how to manage employees or choose the right supply chain, which may result in inefficient management and ultimately end up making a loss. This is a better analysis than the previous one because previous one was too detailed. This is a good analysis. You will score full marks in that. There is no point of deducting marks. You do not write excessively. Do not waste your time on that. You will score 8 out of 8 in this. The most important objective of a public sector energy supplier is the environmental objective. Evaluate the view. Okay, public sector are the organizations accountable to and controlled by the central or local government. Good start of the question. Public sector does not usually have high profits or as objective because they receive funds by the government that are collected by the from the tax revenue. Again, good show of knowledge. Okay, this it's important that they have the best interest of the environment in mind while supplying energy to a country or city. They should make sure that they are using as much renewable energy as possible to ensure that they are operating sustainably and not sacrificing the ability of the future generations to meet their needs. Good show of analysis. They can do this by using windmills or the solar panels to help generate electricity instead of burning fossil fuels. This is a very good application, which increase air pollution and the something that I cannot read. It is important that they put emphasis on environmental objectives to reduce climate change so that the other private sector businesses would be forced to follow if the pressure groups threaten to stop buying from them. ओके जहाँ पे हमारा लास्ट सेंटेंस हमारा इससे पिछले वाला खत्म हुआ टू जनरल इलेक्ट्रिसिटी इंस्टेड ऑफ बर्निंग फॉसिल फ्यूल्स विद द इंक्रीज ऑफ पोल्यूशन तो इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट दैट दे पुट एम्फेसिस ऑन द एनवायरमेंटल ऑब्जेक्टिव टू रिड्यूस द क्लाइमेट चेंज यहाँ पे भी हमारा एनालिसिस वाज कंप्लीट उसके बाद सो दैट अदर प्राइवेट सेक्टर बिजनेसेस वाला वाज नॉट नेसेसरी. However, it is important to note that it's not possible for the public sector to not something that is missing. However, it's important to note that that it's not possible for the public sector to not create any pollution because even though windmills or the solar panels are more environment friendly, it may not be possible to supply electricity to the whole country this way, and they would also have to use factories that emit greenhouse gases. Again, good evaluation with the contextual thing. Although environmental objectives are important to the public sector energy suppliers, there are other objectives such as increasing employment that are equally important. The government would have operations that are mostly labor intensive to create more jobs, which will reduce unemployment rate, and income inequality. Okay. The energy supplier may not use solar panels because it's expensive and instead go for the cheaper methods that may cause pollution. but would make electricity affordable for the every income. So you haven't written 2 points in the favor of that, but you have done analysis of one objective against that. Okay, that's not a bad approach. The energy supply. Okay, ji. These full these fall under the category of the social objectives that are also important as environmental objectives, because they ensure that the income inequality gaps are reduced and and poorer households are also able to afford the necessities like electricity. However, consumers might be more concerned about the climate change and question the objective of the government. They may protest against the current production methods and the demand changes to make the operations more environment friendly. Based on the above analysis and conclusion, I think that it's important to conclude that the public sector does not have environmental objectives as the most as important, because the social objectives are just as important to them. An energy supplier should try to find a balance between all objectives and make sure that have sustainable operations while supplying energy to so many households as possible, also increasing employment. They cannot prioritize one objective over the other because they think about the effect of the activism on the whole economy, actions on the whole economy. What you have done in the final evaluation, you might have added something that their objectives depend on their size, for example, the objectives of the government, for example, what government wants actually from them. It also depends on whether how much finance government can provide them to achieve their objective, specifically environmental. So you might have added some factors on which your decision was dependent to improve this evaluation. This was again a good answer, not bad. I'll give you 10 out of 12 in this answer. So this is your paper.